Welcome back to the MLG Prizefight presented by BIC Flex4 Razors. I'm Montecristo, and with me is my good buddy, Optimus Tom.
Yes, indeed. And besides the two wonderful, wonderful casters, we have two wonderful, wonderful teams about to jump into game number 1 of this MLG Prizefight. Legion and TSM, winner goes home with $1,000 in tiny gold bricks, like you mentioned. Loser's going to go home absolutely nothing, with maybe a heart full of shames. That's about it. We can see already Legion on your blue side, TSM on your red side, and Monty, as we said, level 1 going to be an interesting setup from both sides. Right away we get a pause, so we can't really talk too much about that. But level 1 is going to be a very interesting setup. TSM is going to have the Blitzcrank for the pull, Morgana with the binding, and a lot of damage coming out of Rumble, Shyvana, and that Corki at the early stage of the game. Whereas on Legion's side, they want to get aggressive. They have a Rammus, but he's probably not going to want to take taunt at level 1. He's probably going to go for that defensive ball curl, and that's about it.
Right, he'll need some help with his team. I would be surprised if we saw an early invade. He won't take a skill until he knows the invade isn't happening. Of course, TSM does have a very strong team comp for the invade with the Dark Binding and the harpoons, the electro harpoons from Rammus, or from Rumble, excuse me, guys.
Onto Rammus.
Onto Rammus. And Blitzcrank pulls, everything else. They do have a very strong level 1 comp, so we'll have to see what exactly the jungle route that they're going to be taking. In the meantime, I'm going to take a quick look. I can't actually see through the pause timer at the ability power for Wild Turtle, but he looks like he has 0 AP at level 1. So, and he has 60 attack damage, so is this an AP Ezreal? I'm getting less sure.
I'm very perplexed as well, so we're going to have to see if he's going to be an AD Ezreal in the mid lane to try to combat that Morgana through just physical prowess. AD mid, something we haven't seen for a very, very long time.
But very good against Morgana. Frequently you see kind of Talon played against Morgana more usually in these kind of matchups. But I suppose an AD Ezreal could work. We're just going to have to see how this goes, guys. This is a very weird build. I'm sitting here looking at his stats right now, and I'm seeing 0 ability power and getting kind of weirded out.
The weirdest part about this too is because of the pause timer, we can't really check for the magic penetration, but he doesn't have any armor penetration either. And as we are going to get back into the game, we can finally clarify what this Ezreal is going to be wielding. He has 10% armor pen, so it looks like we will actually be seeing an AD Ezreal. Wow, 21, 10% armor penetration.
So he's running for actually kills. He's not even going to be farming with that. All that armor pen, he's definitely going to be looking to do damage to Morgana early.
That is going to be very interesting, and TSM going to be taken completely off guard by this. At level 1, if they have that much damage, could be very interesting. Xpecial going to face check this push, does find Law of Mortis in there. They are not going to get a pull off on anything yet. There's a Dark Binding that lands onto Inubish. Law of Mortis going to get the exhaust down onto Xpecial. Xpecial dropping very, very low. Star Call at level 1, shredding through the magic resistance. Law of Mortis is going to be chased down by Dyrus with that flash hit, and they are going to pick up a kill on that as well. Dark Binding not going to be hitting anybody else. Dyrus takes a tower shot and a flash with the buckshot from the end. Will seal the deal on Dyrus, and that is first blood, an additional kill for Legion.
That was such an impressive play there, and just a little bit of a miscue by Dyrus. He had to go around that way because the team got split chasing down Mortis's Rammus. So now we already have an advantage here for Legion, and the kills coming down on Ezreal and Graves. So really not good, the 2 AD carries. I really like this comp too because of the Vlad. Chemo Plague with double AP carries is going to do brutal amounts of damage, actually. This should be a really interesting team comp to watch, and I can't help but think that they totally baited Reginald into this. I mean, they just totally knew what TSM was going to be doing, and they just made this brilliant kind of team comp. So it just comes down to, will they actually be able to pull it off in this game?
Interestingly enough, Soraka with that Star Call at level 1 also means there's a lot of magic penetration on their team. So they're going to be hitting from all sides. But TSM going to respond to this with going on both sides of Rammus's jungle. On the one side, Odd One's going to be stealing away the red buff, and then Reginald, Chaos, and Xpecial going to be contesting this blue. Reginald does land a Dark Binding, a Law of Mortis. There's a ward in that bush. Chaos is going to get a lot of damage down on there with his Corki. Blue buff actually resets, so TSM doing a really great job of stalling here. It looks like Wild Turtle is going to come in from the side and lay down a couple of Mystic shots, but Chaos is not done with the harass. Reginald as well, popping potions to stay alive, but Soraka and Ezreal now going down on Reginald, has to burn the flash to get out of there. We do still have Law of Mortis trying to wail away on this blue, but nothing is going to wind up happening with it right now. He's just letting it reset, and he's taking way too much damage, especially now going to pull it on top of this. So already, Law of Mortis is going to be able to smite it away, getting it low enough, but Odd One has successfully completed the counter jungle on the red side and potentially sniffing out Wild Turtle in the mid lane here.
Yeah, let's actually see if Wild Turtle, he does have Arcane Shift, so he is going to dodge it. He's going to get the kill on Reginald right here. A lot of Mortis coming around the corner. He's going to hit him with the power ball for that 300 gold and chase the odd one off. So Arcane Shift, the second ability coming out of Wild Turtle to escape and be able to catch up with Reginald in that gank.
Meanwhile, in top lane, Yen is taking a little bit of damage from Xpecial and Chaos, but that Star Call is doing so much damage. Has to deter Chaos so low, almost dying to minions right there, as well as Xpecial. Now, a lot of Morris Powerball is a rolling. Is he going to get the taunt on the Xpecial? He gets the defensive curl off. I almost said Dark Binding. That's not Morgana right there. Gets the defensive curl off, but no taunt yet. He does have Powerball and only in level 2, so no taunt is going to be found there. But meanwhile, Legion, this strategy, very ingenious. Already almost a 1,500 gold lead, basically level 3.
Tom, I have to say, you know, every time we come into these studios, we see some really wild games, and I'm so excited about this match tonight and how this is going down. You know, it's great to see a kind of vengeance match for Legion here against TSM. TSM, of course, one of the big names in the scene, and always, you know, a great team to watch and fun to see in their team comps and their incredible team play together, but also fun to see the up-and-comers, and sometimes it's a little entertaining to see the dark horse or the underdog pull out a victory. It's
going to be very interesting, this mid matchup I keep watching, because Wild Turtle is continuously pushing down on Reginald's Morgana, completely the opposite of what we thought was going to happen. Mystic Shots just completely zoning Reggie out of a bit of CS as well as experience. 20 CS to Morgana's 8 in the mid lane right now. Reggie's been shut down so far.
I mean, this is exactly what you would expect from that AD Ezreal. You know, he's got the range, he's got the harass and the Mystic Shot. You could see him here, he's leveling that Mystic Shot first. Of course, like I said earlier, AD runes generally used for farming because they make it easier, and if you're going for those armor pen runes, it's a hint usually at early aggression. And of course, since the Mystic Shot is affected by the armor pen, it will be allowing him to do a lot of damage to Reginald's Morgana.
Yes, indeed. As we can see, he's doing a very, very good job of it. Reggie already back towards his tower. Not to mention that early level 1 fight, giving Ezreal boots in addition to a Doran's Blade, whereas Reggie just really only has boots and potions to his name with a couple wards as well. So he's already on the back foot in that matchup. We did actually forget to mention the fact that top lane is bot lane and bot lane is top lane. The pretty standard lane swap of after the MLG arena with the
yeah, you know what, Tom, it's not even weird anymore. Like,
no.
I don't even think about it. The lane swapping now imported from Korea, and we are seeing that much more commonly in these games. But of course, it does. I think that both teams in this case wanted that 2v1 lane. You know, I'm not sure exactly what those matchups were going to be, or if they preeminently decided to actually both teams trying to get the 2v2 into the top lane. I also want to go back and talk about that early blue buff that we saw. You know, TSM did an excellent job of buying odd one time to steal the red buff right out of Legion's jungle. But the blue buff from Rammus, you know, they did a wonderful job slowing him down and nearly taking that blue buff. But it was all undone when Reggie died in mid lane. You know, they had to keep Reggie alive. They had gotten themselves an advantage, but as soon as they let Rammus get that kill, it was all void.
Yes, indeed. And we actually do see Rammus about a level behind Odd One in the jungle there. So Laudamor's a little behind, but Laudamor's is going to get a gank down on Darius. Has to burn the flash with a flash with the Powerball. And there's the taunt. Flash forward from Cruiser the Bruiser, using the pool for the slow. Darius is not long for this world, and Cruiser the Bruiser nets himself a kill on that bottom top lane. But top lane, meanwhile, we have a pull coming out from Xpecial onto Nien. Nien's actually have to flash away out of that one. And I'm just like super excited about this right now, Monty. I can't even talk right now.
We already have 5 kills by 6 minutes, and that was just a beautiful chain of CC that we saw there on that gank in bottom lane. Really allowed both of the players to use their CC to their fullest potential, getting that taunt off, that great flash by Cruiser, followed off by that pool to go ahead and let Laudamortis do a little extra damage, and of course he taking the turret with that defensive ball curl. Just really nice coordination there from Legion.
Yes, indeed. So Laudamortis proving that Rammus is still a very effective jungler. So all those out there doubting that Rammus, you're just maybe not playing him properly, but he is a little bit behind in his jungle, as we did mention the champion select, currently level 5. Odd One actually getting a little bit of lane experience as well, is level 6. He does have a blue buff to his name there. So we did see that Reginald was hesitating to take their own blue buff on that side, opting to give it to Odd One to continue that experience advantage. So Odd One might be a turning factor for TSM's plan in this game.
And look at what we're seeing here. We actually saw an interview with Laudamortis recently talking about the boots of mobility in the jungle, and he is a big fan of it, and we're seeing him do what we've seen other players do, such as Helios from Azubu Blaze, and also Odd One, using that Boots of Mobility first on Maokai, and then building Philostone after that, after starting Regrowth Pendant first. And here it looks like we're going to see a Heart of Gold coming off of Lot of Mortis, but not before he gets those Boots of Mobility to aid his early game ganking.
And that does actually set behind his GP10, so he's not going to be generating as much gold as quickly, despite being a little bit behind in the jungle. But like you said, being extremely gank heavy, he is going to benefit from that. Odd One with an early Oracle's looking to try to establish some map presence for TSM to get a little bit back into this game. We didn't even talk about the fact that they're down 11k to 8.6k gold, and it's almost 8 minutes into the game right now, Monty. So Legion doing a very good job of taking the aggression to TSM. After TSM, I think it was Reginald was quoted as, "Who's more aggressive than us?"
Yeah, I mean, this has been a very aggressive Legion team that we've actually seen for the last couple of weeks now, really revamping their play style. This is not how I remember Legion playing. Legion, for a long time, coming off of their first LAN appearance at MLG Providence, was really, they had a very good early game, but once they got into the late game, their coordination was kind of lacking, and teams like the old Epic Gamer, now TSM Evo, and TSM were kind of able to pick them apart through superior late game coordination, but they've really kind of turned that around, and we see a lot of Mortis powerballing in with red buff.
Yeah, he is. He's going to go down on Dyrus right here. Does get a nice equalizer all the way across, but there's the Hemoplague as well. A lot of Mortis. There's also a slow coming out from the Vlad pool. Dyrus not going down very easily. The Hemoplague will pop. He is extremely low and barely going to get out of there. They do not want to dive too deep.
Look at Wild Turtle, though. He's on the chase. He's got to get Dyrus in that bush. He knows he's in there, I'm sure. Will he be able to Arcane Shift? His ult is down, and with the Essence Flux, will pick him up.
There's an Ignite as well, so Wild Turtle picking up the kill, going on cleanup duty. We thought it was a little weird for Legion to be backing off of that one, but now we know why, because all of a sudden Dyrus is in a bush and a Wild Turtle appears, Monte Cristo.
That's right. And let's take a look at Lot of Mortis real quick. Wow, actually going down in top lane.
Yeah, Nubish is getting extremely low. We'll go down to Chaos, Ending Special there, but Chaos getting extremely low from a collateral damage from Nien. Nien is not going to be able to go and chase, though, because he is without support, does not want to be walking into that special Blitzcrank. Reggie coming in from the mid lane. This could be what TSM needs to do to get back in this game. Nien actually walking all the way away from his tower, realizing that Reginald was missing. Very heads-up play from him. There's a Dark Binding, but just sidestepping it so easily.
Yeah, you know, Nien really not under threat. They're playing this Azubu Blaze style. Nien having cleanse a la Captain Jack. On Graves, and that Graves Soraka lane, a favorite of Blaze, and this is exactly what we saw earlier. They've been pushing that top lane very aggressively for most of the game, using the power of that Soraka infuse to give Graves back the mana for more buckshots. They will see that turret go down, but Nien going to go ahead and stick around top lane all the same. Wild Turtle picking up blue buff in the meantime.
Yes, indeed. So I was going to say, speaking of Azubu Blaze, TSM taking the first tower of the game to try to equalize the gold count a little bit, but still down almost 1.5k still. So Legion continuing to keep their throttle hold really down on TSM from the beginning stage of this game. Reginald has now dedicated himself to roaming around a little bit. 43 CS to Ezreal's 80. Is going to try to make something happen. There's a ward in that bush, though. Infuse does go down. Niem will get tagged by a Dark Binding, but Reggie cannot follow up. Blitzcrank is nowhere to be found. Dyrus now roaming around as well, going on to Wild Turtle. Equalizer has been popped, but he Arcane Shifts out of there. Dyrus overheating. Nothing else is really going to come out of this one. And now what we're seeing from Legion right now is TSM is continuously shifting around lanes and roaming a little bit. Almost looks like they're trying to make something work against Legion.
Yeah, Legion, by the way, Lauda Mortis, 1, 1, and 4. He's had a hand in every single one of the kills so far for Legion, so really outstanding jungle presence from this Rammus, and not what we would have expected given this pick.
Cruiser in the bot lane, meanwhile, looks to be taking down this bottom tower. No, Odd One's actually going to chase them away here. Cruiser is going to get off a couple transfuses. There's actually a special Blitzcrank coming down as well. We do see a little bit of action going down in the mid lane. Lawnmower's going to flash forward with that Powerball, gets the taunt down on Reginald. Wild Turtle will pick up a kill there. We saw the Ezreal ultimate flying across the screen to get him extremely low in the first place.
Yeah, and farm looking pretty even, actually, between Cruiser and Rumble. Of course, Cruiser's going to be much more of a threat into the late game, so we'll have to see how well they can kind of carry this. Legion can't, or if TSM's actually going to force the issue into a mid-game where they have a very strong comp with this Blitzcrank and his ability to isolate. If they start roaming and picking off members of Legion, I think that's going to be the key to victory here in the mid-game for TSM.
We do see Lauda Mortis picking up an Oracle's Elixir of his own. Inuish also placing down pink wards all over the place, so Legion knows they have to establish map control and vision control in order to keep the strategy up. Going for this dragon here, they do see TSM contesting it. Oh, Lauda Mortis gets pulled. That is an Oracle's Elixir down. Odd One coming across, but Special will get the kill. Nubish is going to fall down as well as Chaos pick up that kill. Nien, not done yet, wants to pick up the kill on Special. Hemoplague pops, and that will be a kill for Cruiser the Bruiser. Wild Turtle taking a lot of damage in that smoke screen. It's not going to help him out from Corki with those missiles over the wall, though. Oddone getting extremely low. Cruiser's flashing forward. Is he going to get the transfuse off? He does, and will end up picking up the kill as well through the black shield. But a double kill is picked up by Corki as Vladimir goes down. Dyrus did pop an equalizer as well. There's a flash over the wall from Nien and non-stop aggression from either side. But TSM able to deter a dragon from Legion. Not done yet. Reggie, Chaos, and Dyrus pushing the issue here. Chaos picks up another kill on Graze and just walks away with one tower shot.
So they lost all 5 members there. And by the way, a beautiful play by Chaos, knowing exactly how much turret damage he was going to take and remaining alive with a sliver of health. But really, you know, that was a ill-advised dragon. They had just gotten a pretty big win in terms of kills, and by they I mean Legion, and they were all about half health. And
a lot of Mortis wants this kill on Chaos. He is going to get the power ball down. Where's the taunt? There's the taunt. Boots of mobility. OP shutting him down with the ultimate. But now there's a Blitzcrank going to pull him back around. Odd One Shyvana is there as well. A lot of Mortis does take that blue buff away from Chaos. Is he going to be able to survive? Defensive ball curl pop, and then he has the power ball off. Silence from Blitzcrank not going to be enough. Is he going to get a hook down? Look how fast a lot of Mortis is going, ladies and gentlemen. Boots of mobility look to be saving him for another day.
Wow, that was an impressive kill there by Lada Mortis. It would have been worth it even with that trade because he would have gotten the killing spree gold and given blue to either Blitzcrank or Shyvana, which it really doesn't matter on. So it was a great play regardless, but definitely a very ballsy maneuver there by Lada Mortis to go and pick up that kill on Reggie and come out alive.
Yes, indeed, but it did pay off for him in dividends, and now going to be pushing down on this middle tower. Wild Turtle just continuing to hammer away. Reginald still afraid to engage on Ezreal. That is another tower for Legion. Even though they had a little bit of a misstep at that dragon fight, still ahead 9 kills to 7, now have a tower advantage as well, and that's given them yet another 2.5k gold lead over TSM. Ooh, equalizer in the top lane, Cruiser with the Hemoplague as well. Dyrus thinks he can take him down, but the Hemoplague is going to pop. They're going to trade here. No! Dyrus actually lives through absolutely everything, taking down Cruiser. Oh, never mind. Wild Turtle appears and takes down Dyrus.
What a fantastic true shot for the barrage there coming out of Wild Turtle to pick up that kill on Dyrus in top lane. And it looks like Wild Turtle actually going to be pulling ahead here with 4-1-4 kills. Of course, Chaos getting terrifying with 5-1 and 2, even though it does appear that Nien is slightly ahead in terms of CS, not enough to anywhere by any means to make up that difference. But of course, we do have the 2 AD carries, and one of the AD carries pretty fed, and actually both fed AD carries going for Trinity Force first for that early to mid-game burst damage.
We have aggression in the bot lane. Lada Mortis came all the way around. They are hammering down on Chaos. They don't want the fed carry on the enemy team picking up any more kills. Kill does go to Inubish, though, but that Soraka is just going to be able to level up that Star Call even more, Monty. I'm going to click on her real quick and see. No, only level 1. Okay, so she stopped after the level 1. She's just going to level up heal.
Well, not too exciting there. I do want to point out that so far Nien only has a pickaxe. You know, we are at the 15-minute mark, so he hasn't actually picked up that much gold yet. Let's see if he has some in the bank. He does have about 1,500 in the gank, and they will be able to take this dragon. Looks like uncontested. They do not have an Oracle anymore after Lada Mortis died in the last dragon fight, but neither does Odd One. So it is a little bit, both teams kind of in the dark right now and not really willing to contest that dragon. It looks like they did have a ward there and should have known that Legion was in, but they were just too spread out on the map, Dyrus and Odd One being too far away to really contest it in earnest.
Monty, I'm just looking over here at Wild Turtle's Ezreal with a sub-15-minute Trinity Force.
Yeah, it's terrifying. You know, one of, if not the most expensive item in the game. The most expensive item in the game, Tom?
The most expensive item in the game. Wild Turtle's going to have some Dyrus aggression. Odd One coming out of the bush over there is going to wind up taking them down. Dyrus going to live through the Ignite right there and now doesn't have to worry about that True Shot barrage since she's taking down Wild Turtle.
Yeah, great patience there by Odd One to pick up that kill. That was definitely needed by TSM. Slow down Wild Turtle a bit, force him back to base, and pick up some extra gold. And now we have an 11-9 kill game, but we still have over a 3,000 gold lead and a turret advantage and a dragon advantage for Legion. So we'll have to see if they can carry this advantage into the late game or whether this roaming, which has proved effective for TSM in the mid game, as I suspected with that Rumble pick and with the rest of their team comp, you know, the Trinity Force build onto Chaos as well, really helping out.
Yes, indeed. Very interesting, really quick. Cruiser the Brewers down here, still farming up that bottom lane against the turret. Has opted to... Oh, there's a True Shot Barrage as well. They're fighting over farm now, Monty. I don't know about that one. But Cruiser has picked up a Spirit Visage in addition to a Hextech Revolver, going very heavy into magic resistance from the double AP comp between Rummel and Morgana. And on top of this, going for a little bit more sustainability. The Hextech Revolver and, of course, the Spirit Visage. One of the things people don't remember about it all too often is in addition to cooldown reduction, he's going to be healing himself for even more with those transfusions.
Right, and the idea here is that, as I suspected earlier in this match when I said that Vladimir was really going to be used for Hemoplague, you know, he's just looking to Hemoplague to allow Nien and Wild Turtle to do more damage in fights. And he's also going to be used for that CC from Pool and his sustainability. So really, he's just looking to be a kind of tank this game and amplify the damage of his 2 AD carries rather than being a real presence himself.
This is something we haven't really seen out of Vladimir's ever since they tweaked the numbers on his passive ability where the HP gives AP and the AP gives HP. So it's very interesting to see Cruiser the Bruiser bringing something back a little old school style with a more tanky Vladimir, but still Wild Turtle and Nien doing a really, really great job. It's interesting to see how the team functions when they have 2 substitutes.
Yeah, it is really interesting, but they do seem to be pulling it off rather nicely, and they are looking, again, guys, for vengeance from the IPL and also looking forward to competition coming up at MLG Raleigh in a couple weeks. So Nien returning to this top lane, going to go ahead and keep farming. Let's take a look at the gold counts real quick. We do have over 7,000 gold already on Wild Turtle, and his nearest competitor is the 6,450 on Chaos. So a bit of an advantage for the AD carry, one of the AD carries, I should say, from Legion.
Yes, indeed. They are going to mop up their 3rd tower of the game. That is every single outer tower down currently for TSM. In the mid lane, though, Cruiser the Bruisers trying to survive against Xpecial and Odd One as they go down into that mid turret. They're going to pick up a kill there. Reginald got very, very low to begin with. Xpecial also getting very, very low, but Cruiser not able to hold them off. But it looks like, oh, in the top lane, we have Grace taking down Dyrus as well. So an Ezreal True Shot Barrage isn't going to net a kill on anybody. Xpecial's kind of low, not going to be low enough, but they are just going to trade mid tower for 2nd tier top tower now, Monty.
I wonder if this base race is going to go on. We were talking about Legion's love of base racing recently before the game started, and of course the Essence Flux too. Let's talk about the Essence Flux with these 2 AD carries. Increasing the attack speed of both Ezreal and Graves is pretty awesome for this team comp.
Yes, it is. Reginald actually has not gotten his Zanya's Hourglass yet. That's just a testament to how little farm he's gotten. The 3rd tower in the top lane goes down. At the same time, the 2nd tower in the mid lane goes down for Legion. So Legion still, despite having the 5-3 tower advantage, they also have the pushing advantage. A lot of Mortis wanting to grab Xpecial right there, but wisely backing off as now members of TSM are both recalling and respawning right there. Cruiser the Bruiser, the lone member of Legion left in the mid lane, and now Legion might want to hightail it out of here. Uh-oh, TSM might be going to cut them off. Shirelia's Reverie is activated right here. Odd One wants to try to come in and do something. Wild Turtle trying to deter him away with those Mystic Shots of Essence Flux. Nubich deciding to go in, and the flash over the wall. Looked like he wanted to try to kind of sacrifice himself for his team, but his team got the wrong idea, trying to stutter step back in. Chaos picks up a kill. Now they're kind of stuck. A lot of Mortis is going to be the first one to be pulled out of that recall. Wild Turtle now has to pop the Arcane Ship to try to get out. Flash is used as well. Ezreal is running for his life. He's going to run into a Blitzcrank hook possibly. Corki is going to get the Phosphorus Bomb down, so they have a little bit more vision on him. Arcane Ship once again. Aggro's Baron, but the Equalizer from Rumble's going to pick up the kill right there. And now TSM, 5 of them at Baron. Why not do it?
You know, and that was another misplay. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said that Legion has a very strong early game, but their traditional weakness has been team play in the late game. And you can see these little bitty missteps with their calls. And Mortis, wow, almost eating it there, but manages to get away. He's got to go back in onto the spell-immune Reginald. So they're just trying to stall this Baron. He throws down Hemoplague. I don't think they can stop this, though. This is a bit of a questionable decision, I think, for Legion.
Cruiser's really trying to get it right there. He's not going to get it. Dyrus is actually going to take that away, but he will take down Odd One in regards to this. Dyrus, Chaos, and Reginald all fairly low. So Nien and Nubich are going to come back in here, but Chaos is going to be able to Valkyrie over the wall in just a second. Silence goes down, though, and Chaos is going to be taken down by Nien. True Shot Barrage as well, going to net a little bit of damage down on Reginald, but misses Dyrus. So even though they do pick up the Baron buff right there, they lose 3 members of their team.
And only 2 for Legion, so I have to take back what I said about the stall tactics used by Cruiser and Lauda there. Really did turn out into their favor ultimately, so nice job there by Legion. But again, like what I was saying earlier with the shenanigans up in top lane where they kind of got cut off, you know, this is where you see the real strength of TSM, which is their team play is so extraordinary. And here you see also the weaknesses of Legion, just not really knowing the limits. You know, they haven't perhaps played as much as TSM. Certainly they have not played as much as a team because they're a much newer newer team than TSM. So they don't have quite the coordination. Now, they are doing extremely well in this game, and they are winning it right now by a relatively narrow margin at the 20-minute mark, but they're going to pick up a dragon here and increase that lead to over 4,000 gold.
And the one thing that TSM has been doing is they've been down by 2,000 or 3,000 gold the entire game, but that total hasn't changed. TSM is continuing to keep themselves in this one, trying to farm up. And as we're going to take a quick look at the gold tab, Chaos, like you said, 8.5k on him. Reginald finally hitting the 6.3k mark, catching up to Dyrus at 6.8k. But on the side for Legion, we're taking a look at Ezreal, 8.6k. Now Corky's actually caught up to him, so he's not exactly the richest guy in the world anymore, but now Graves has increased his lead to 8.2k as well.
And now we actually see the Rumble with the double blasting wands. He just turned one into Will of the Ancients right there, but he did have 2 blasting wands. And what that tells you with the Haunting Guys is that he picked up 2 of those blasting wands just so he could do more damage right now without having to build something into an item. So TSM knows they're a bit behind, and they know that they need to start winning these team fights, which is why you can see Dyrus itemizing like that.
Wild Turtle getting caught out of position right here. Reginald did pop the Soul Shackles down and able to pick up a nice kill over there as he was trying to, I guess, steal away the blue buff over there, it looked like.
And pings now going down by TSM onto the middle inhibitor, so it remains to be seen whether they'll actually be able to take this. Loud Mortis on Rammus. Of course, it's very difficult to take towers against Rammus because of that taunt. Reginald also has his Soul Shackles on cooldown for the next 80 seconds, so he can't really initiate. So I think they're probably just going to have to hope for some poke out of Chaos and a lucky grab from Next Special if they want to take this turret.
They do have a couple members of Baron buff up still, so Reginald and Dyrus are going to be able to sustain through the poke war a little bit. Loud Mortis wants to go in. He has the defensive ball curl proc, wants to get a pull. Oh, actually, a pull coming down from Next Special. There's the equalizer as well. Loud Mortis gets the heal from Soraka, but it's not going to be enough. TSM netting themselves 1 kill in this little siege of the tower, and that's probably what they want to do. They have Blitzcrank, they have Reginald, they have a bunch of ways to crowd control somebody. Let's just lay siege to tower and make Legion make mistakes.
Yeah, you know, that's exactly what Legion didn't want to happen, but a great grab there by BIC Special, kind of baiting Rammus out and waiting until the end of the defensive ball curl to pull him. So really nice play there by BIC Special to get Rammus, Loud Mortis, at his most vulnerable.
Yes, indeed. It looks like TSM is going to be rotating towards top. Dark Binding over the wall does land in Yen. They are going to not get the grab off, though. Especially did not want to go for that one right there. Wild Turtle and Cruiser running a little bit of distract in the front row over there. But now TSM is the one in the driver's seat. Even though they're behind a little bit in gold still, they've taken the kill advantage, and they're trying to push. Like we said, we have 2 members of TSM with Baron buff. They're trying to push it to its limits to try to generate some sort of advantage to get themselves back in this game. But now with the full Legion roster up, nice Dark Binding over the wall from Reginald is going to stop Lord of Mortis and let Chaos Valkyrie out of there. Ooh, but the Trinity Force procs down on Chaos. He's getting very, very low. Hemo Plague is popped down by Cruiser the Bruiser, and he's going to net a kill on Chaos right there. TSM on the back foot once again. Like I said, with this fully up team of Legion, they are going to be pushing it back down on the TSM. Very nice Dragon Form over the wall from Ottoman, but now that is going to be on cooldown, and Legion, taking back control of the driver's seat, is now going to be pushing down on TSM.
Onto this naked inhibitor, man. This Loud Mortis with his Rammus Powerball, with his Boots of Mobility and his Shirelia's Reverie is cracking me up. He can engage from so far away.
Uh-oh, looks like Wild Turtle's going to get taken down by a Dyrus ult right there. The team fight is going down. Yen's getting extremely, extremely low. Reginald, oh, actually on the outside there is not going to be able to land anything. I do believe his Soul Shackle is on cooldown. Dyrus taking a lot of damage here. A lot of Mortis flashing, wants to pick up the kill. Lands the taunt, and Cruiser the Bruiser will pick up the kill. Special getting very, very low. And Yen is out of the fight, went away to safety, but look at Cruiser. Look how tanky. Tried to pick up a kill on Special. There's the double kill. Odd One looks to be the next to fall, but now Chaos has rejoined the fight. Triple kill will go down to Cruiser, but that is a double kill for Chaos, as it looks like Legion's gonna have to back off of this one.
And trade for 3 for 3. In the end, warping out of this bush right here. Very risky play. Reginald and Chaos, will they be able to see him? No, they will not. They just walk on by.
Oh, that was extremely, extremely risky. Knowing that Nien went back early, I thought he was recalling to try to just heal up and buy some items beforehand, but he stuck around and was farming a little bit in those couple of minions that were still around. Very interesting kind of situation for him to be in. Like we said, if Corky just shot 1 missile, if Morgana decided to peek her head in there with a dark shield on, that was lights out for Nien, so very, very lucky of him to get away with his life.
And 19-19 and a little over 3,500 the gold difference right now that we're seeing. So a very tight game at 26 minutes. And by the way, let's take a look at Wild Turtle's score. He was 4-1-4 early in this game. He's now 4-5-6. So TSM really doing a great job of containing the threat that he presents.
Yes, indeed. But interestingly enough, Wild Turtle, like we said, has gotten that Trinity Force extremely early. Now going for the last Wisp. We're looking around at Nien, who's actually caught a little out of position right here. He's going to get collapsed on by Chaos and Special. Using that smoke screen to great effect. He's bursting down Chaos. Oh, the collateral damage not going to be enough to finish Chaos off. Going to get out of there. Special now all by himself. Here comes Legion's team. Wild Turtle is approaching, but Dyrus is coming in as well. Chaos is going to wind up going down to Nien, but there is the equalizer, taking down that very squishy Ezreal. Nien knows he's done for him, but he's going to net himself a double kill onto Special first. Odwin popping that ultimate will shut down Graves, but still, just keep trading 2 for 2 between these two teams.
Yeah, and let's take a look at Cruiser's build now. You can see
no, Lot of Mortis wants us to keep talking, Monte Cristo. He's going in on Reginald right here. Has the taunt off. Reginald has to pop the Dark Shield after the taunt goes off. Unfortunately, the reinforcements from Legion include a Soraka, and that's not going to be enough to finish off Reginald as he just walks away from this one. Powerball is up again from Lot of Mortis, though. He just wants to keep rolling in on this one, but decides to actually go after some creeps instead. Odwin, in the meantime, is going to pick up that bottom turret for TSM to try to bring him back closer into the gold advantage here.
Well, yeah, and both TSM and Legion lost their AD carry, so there's not going to be much they're going to be able to do besides take out a few outside towers. Nobody's going to really force a fight right now. Lauda Mortis, by the way, if you look, he only has 97 armor. You know, this is the problem with Rammus, is that if you don't get a lot of armor on him, and you're not in defensive ball curl, he's actually relatively squishy. So, you know, we can see that he's got that Negatron cloak to give himself a little more MR, but even so, only sitting at about 97, 143, which for a tank at this point in the game is not a whole lot. Of course, defensive ball curl going to add significantly to those totals, but it does limit the times at which they can engage properly.
It does indeed, and that means that, once again, TSM can take advantage of this. Like you said earlier, Xpecial was waiting until the defensive ball curl was over to pull Lot of Mortis into the team, and he was melted almost instantly. So that is one of the initiation methods for Legion, completely wiped out by TSM's patience and TSM's prep. So if they, like you said, if they get a good pull on Rammus, or if they're able to take out Vladimir extremely early, then Legion has very little to engage upon their enemy team with. And TSM, like you said, they've been doing so good in these team fights that Legion's a little more on the back foot. Wild Turtle was dominating in lane, but as you said, now 4, 6, and 7, falling off a little bit. But one interesting thing is Wild Turtle has built all armor penetration, and we have Nien in the meantime picking up an Executioner's calling for sustain on top of the Infinity Edge and Fan Dancer. He's going for straight damage. A lot of Mortis in the meantime with that Shirelius is going to go in, gets a nice Powerball off on Xpecial, pulling a taunt as well. There's the Soul Shackles from Reginald going off. Chaos is going to pick up a kill on Wild Turtle. A lot of Mortis goes down to Chaos as well. That is a double kill. Nien's going to get exhausted, has to try to get out of there with the quick draw. Dyrus will go down the Cruiser, but a pull from Xpecial going to pull Cruiser into everybody. Cruiser, though, is not going down without a fight. Odd One and Chaos trying to chase him. They're getting extremely low from Tides of Blood. Nien's going to clean up with a double kill on both of them with that buckshot. Xpecial no HP. Reginald is a target. A flash over the wall from Nien. There's a triple kill. Blitzcrank comes back to mop up Soraka, and that's a quadra kill. Not quite a Nienta kill, Monte Cristo, but that lets Legion ace TSM and push freely on the exposed top inhibitor and their base.
I'm so sad that we didn't have another Nienta kill here at MLG time. I guess I'll just have to wait for it. But in the meantime, what a magnificent team fight there. Lauda Mortis, of course, getting chunked right after he got out of the defensive ball curl, but the late addition of Cruiser to that fight and his ability to get inside and get his pull down on so many members of TSM, followed by that beautiful cleanup by Nien, will allow them to take down this inhibitor, and maybe they will go actually straight to Baron. No, of course, TSM going to come up too quickly. They have to get back and heal up Cruiser before TSM actually decides to go to that Baron. No, Cruiser, please go back to base.
Well, the one thing that Cruiser can do is with that, he has a Death Cap in addition to that Hextech Revolver, Spirit Visage, and the Abyssal Scepter. So shred all around. Cruiser the Bruiser shredding the magic, and then Wild Turtle shredding the armor. He can sustain himself extremely well, but when Baron's hitting like a truck, you really don't want to have to pop that Summoner Heal on Cruiser. And actually, TSM's going to truck themselves right over to Baron. Cruiser, you know, he took that little bit of time by those raids. He has Soraka heals up, but he's not going to be 100% for this fight. He was a big, big factor in last team fight. A lot of Mortis deciding to Powerball in on Reginald, who has the Black Shield up already, trying to face check those bushes. A lot of Mortis kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here. Is going to get the engage down on the TSM. Reginald getting extremely low, will not pop the Soul Shackles there. Wild Turtle picks up a kill on him as well. A lot of Mortis somehow is still alive. Odd One in trouble now. Cruiser the Bruiser going to heal himself back up to full HP using Chaos as his leech there. And now Legion pressuring down on the Baron.
Yeah, and as you were saying right there, it was so clutch of Legion to actually pull out that Morgana and kill her before the Soul Shackles proc. That would have turned that fight completely around. Chaos very low, gotta get hit by that Arcane Shift.
Oh, and KX does go down. They actually net themselves the Baron as well. And now with the AD carry down for TSM, Dyrus looks to be not long for this world either. Wild Turtle chasing him down with those Trinity Force procs. Will pick up a kill on Dyrus. Xpecial trying to do what he can to Lauda Mortis, but Lauda Mortis with defensive ball curl up is tanky as heck. Cruiser the Bruiser going to get the slow and the pull down as well, and Wild Turtle netting the last hit right there. TSM has been aced, TSM is down, and Legion is pushing down onto their Nexus turrets.
You know, and this was so close. All TSM needed to do was hold out for the Randuin's Omen onto Odd One and hold out for the Frozen Heart onto Blitzcrank. It would have helped them so much in those team fights, but Legion pushing their advantage before TSM was able to get those items, and that will be a victory here in the MLG Prizefight presented by BIC Flex4 Razors for Legion. They are up 1-0 and getting some sweet, sweet revenge on TSM.
Oh, revenge is a dish best served cold, and with those Trinity Force procs and with the slow from Vladimir, I think it was pretty cold indeed. So Legion's going to take a 1-0 lead in a very, very impressive showing against TSM. TSM, like I said, Legion mixed their brains up with their team composition. Even though they net down the fact that Wild Turtle was hidden like a truck with the AD Ezreal, they weren't able to bounce back from the rest of the composition. And Lauda Mortis, even though he went 2-6, 17 assists on that Rammus. He was a huge, huge factor in those fights.
I know, it was so good. So I'm going to try and get some invites for you guys. Tom, why don't you break down the game a little bit while I'm working on the players?
Oh, well, there's a lot to be broken down about this game on
I know, right?
First off, Legion throws TSM a giant, giant curveball by picking a composition that we haven't seen a lot of these characters in working with each other for a while. Rammus in the jungle, we have an Ezreal as their mid lane pick. Graves winds up being the range carry with a Soraka pick as well. And then Vladimir decides that he's going to be building very, very tanky and starts initiating and really surviving in team fights. And even though he's not dealing as much damage as possible, well, Vladimir's still Vladimir, and he still has a Hemo Plague, and that just cleans absolutely everybody up. TSM had the advantage in team fights early on. They had a little bit better coordination than Legion. They are using 2 subs, but still, that was extremely impressive, and Legion with a very well-deserved win.
That was such a fun game. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. You should be tweeting like crazy at MLG right now how awesome that game was and how much you're enjoying these prize fights. We are going to go into Game 2 here in a minute, guys, but first we're going to do a little bit of a commercial break while we wait on the players to set up the lobby. And I'm Monte Cristo, and here's Optimus Tom, and we'll be back with you in just a second.